Hi guys, I welcome you all to join our live session today. It will take 1 or 2 minutes since we will start our live session. So before that, I would like to share our links so that any others can join. So just stay tuned. Thank you. So here we are back. I guess in today's session we will discuss how market appeared last week and how we are eyeing on that it will perform and move for the next of the week. So before proceeding, we'd like to share what actually the previous week's news was and how our insights or analysis could help you to gain some more couple of pips. So let's get to it. Like first of all, on the very first day of the week, on Monday, we had news on CNY, Chinese 1 year loan prime rate. Now we had quoted last week that if this news report becomes negative, US dollar can be a little bit act stronger. Now, the vice versa scenario could happen if the result is positive. So US dollar could have act weakly, act a little bit weak and weird. But what happened is that the value is came a little bit increased than the forecast ones, but the value is ultimately lower than the previous value. But that's is the most important thing to be noted on. So on Monday, if the CNY news value is become less than its previous value, then for obvious reasons CNY is weak, and vice versa, US dollar should have to act stronger in the Asian session. So let's see what happened for gold on that particular day on Monday, 21st of August. So here, as we see in the very first morning, we have seen some strong movement on dollar. So gold was a little bit bearish up to like 74 pips. Later on US session, when it opened, uh, US dollar also acted a little bit stronger. Now for US 30, we can say that on 21st of August, on the Asian session, as US dollar could have been act stronger, so there had a chance that index could have act weaker, but instead, it was weaker a little bit low, then go a little bit high on a bullish move. And from this level, 34653 or 55, it actually reverted back to the bearish side. And I'm seeing a bearish movement of 390 plus points on US 30. So later on back that day, we had seen that yes, US 30 actually fall much back. Now, that's the effect of the news on Monday that we had talked about, that it may act a little bit weird, but eventually if the news is positive on for China, it's weak for US dollar. That's what actually we spoke about, and we have seen that for gold it actually happened very perfectly as we mentioned. Now let's look take a look on the Tuesday. We had BRICS Summit first day. We had existing home sales news, which actually been appeared a little bit less than the previous value and also obviously on forecast value. So on Tuesday, on US session, we had seen US dollar a little bit, news was a little bit weak. And later on, we had found that uh, on 22, we had seen that for gold, that on US session, it was strong. So The thing is, on the news, when it was released, the news was a little bit negative for US dollar, as you can see over here, right? But when the news released, it actually appeared a little bit stronger. Now, it eventually set its trend on bullish later on. We will actually get back to you that how it actually did that. What was our prediction on that? But in the meantime, as we can see, its movement, we are seeing that on 22 when the news released, US dollar should get negative and go, buy on this side. But instead, it go a little bit sell, grabbed some sell stop movements over here, and it hunts those sell stops and then again move backwards to the bullish zone. It intends to go on the very first place. Now, that was for the Tuesday. For Wednesday, we had some important news on Eurozone, France, Germany, for GBP, and also we had BRICS summit. We had news on US dollar, which was negative on that day too. We had news is on Eurozone, which was negative on that sense too. So let's see on Wednesday, which is on 23rd, we have seen a huge weakness on for US dollar, and we have seen a good buy move, bullish move for gold over here, and accordingly on 23rd, on Wednesday, we had seen a buy move on US 32. So for gold, it moved buy. For US 30, it also moved buy. Now later, after the day, on let's just say Thursday, it was sideways for gold. It was bearish for US 30, and in the end, it was kind of like harsh bearish move, then sideways bullish move, and eventually it was bullish for US 32. So this is how market reacted last week, and we had BRICS summit. We had speeches from uh, you know FOMC member Haka. We have speeches on Jackson Hole Symposium. We had speeches on German IFO business climate. We had news of ECB President Lagarde. Now, these speeches and news has actually been covered up the whole week, and we have seen kind of like sideways bearish movement overall on US 30. We have seen sideways bullish move for gold. We have seen likewise a bullish movement for USD CAD, likewise last week, as it's been going on a bullish side for the past 4 weeks. So Canada has been 4 weeks consistently weaker than US dollar. That's what actually I'm trying to say. Now, in this position, for AUD USD, we had seen a very sharp fall, but eventually it's also maintaining a good bearish trend for AUD USD for some couple of last 4 or 5 weeks. So we can say for dollar, it's a little bit strong. On commodity, it's been increasing because US may also need to buy some of their dollar into golds, right, for their own security. So if that when that happens, then eventually when US dollar becomes strong, golds becomes price becomes rise because USA is buying gold on that scenario. So I guess last week we had experienced kind of this kind of scenario because on BRICS related to BRICS summit, related to BRICS related different news and events been taking place last week, and also many talk show reports, some prediction verdicts been also be presented on the media. Now, overall, the market maker sentiment can get a little bit change, and also, to adjust and adopt with the situation. Some people may find, okay, let's put some money on the gold, because if anything bad happens, that only can give us security. So for these reasons, I can believe this bullish move been established in the gold. Now, let's have a scenario to the next week. But before that, I would like to say that here on the chat box, you have the full, full credibility, full access to comment and want to know anything you ever know the market. Like say, Mr. Ashraful Alam has been has been repeatedly asking about next week gold price forecast. Uh, okay, so sorry for the foul talk, brother. I guess if you cannot understand, you can just inform us rather than for this foul talk, I guess, because I believe that if you want to know, you can ask it with more vivid expressions, right? Not just sharing your aggression over it. So aggression has not been our point. Okay. So anyway, that's what actually we have been talking about the next week gold price forecast, how this price forecast is gonna happen. That's what actually we are gonna tell. So I guess if you join and keep us, in this live, we are gonna share you all the point of views and scenarios. Okay, so you have to be a little bit patient, brother. That's it. Okay, so let's move on to the analysis. So this has been the last week, as we can speak, but for the next week what news is actually is going to come and how it's going to affect, that's what actually we will say. But before going on, as we have seen some aggressive uh, comments on the chat box we had experienced, so for that reason I could say that we can say what was our point of view for gold for the past days. Okay, that's what we can inform you now. If anyone who is related to our paid mentorship program or signal services, they know we arrange these live sessions every week. So if you follow our I'd like to say especially to Mr. Ashraful Islam, that in our live segment of our YouTube channel you can find our previous week's scenarios too. Okay, now uh for gold, we can tell you that before starting, this week, when the chart was something like that, we informed that it has two kinds of scenario. One, it will abruptly move bearish and target hits its next liquidity level on low side, but there is a high chance it can act a little bit weird and retest again this zone. And when it does that, it can break to the upper level if it closes above 1920, any H4 or H1, and if not, then there is a chance that it can go again here. So I guess we already have informed you, and according to that analysis, we have seen that yes, last week from the very beginning of the week, the market hasn't even touched its opening value since the last week. So it was a whole week bullish movement for gold. Now we eventually informed that this level is important, so there is a retest is been expected. Now it did that, brother. So I see no negativity here being correct, and I see there is no foul analysis. I'm sorry to say. So let's give you a reply over here. I believe, uh, you have every right to say anything in any live sessions, right? But instead, I would be very much feel grateful if you are actually have been our follower. Then obviously, Mr. Ashraful, you would like to, appear this question like this, that I saw your previous week's analysis that you had seen, you had actually been referring that this move will go in this place in this way, but it went to opposite way or this something like that. You can express your, uh, you know, anything you would like in a very tactical way if you actually follow us. But what I see here, you actually don't follow us our live sessions. So what we actually talk, you actually have no idea about it, and you're repeatedly asking about any idea about next week gold price forecast. What I feel that you actually lost, I guess, a little bit more on gold trades last week, but losing is a part of the process. So if you when you lose, you have to lose less. When you win, you have to win more. That's the only technique. Now I'd like to say that according to our analysis, which I actually mentioned last week, I actually been informed clearly, as I remember, that there is a chance that it can retest too, and if it retests and closes above this level, it can go more high, and if not, then it could eventually revert it back again on the bearish side. So that's our forecast is been still right now on like that. Like, it needs to break this 1925 to 1930 scenario. Okay, this zone. So it actually didn't break this zone. It actually been opened up, then closed. There's no two consecutive closing, and no higher high been break. Also, I guess I see the higher highs of previous has been respected very diligently. So this was not a breakout. So this was kind of like resistance. So there's a chance that it can go bearish if the price of H1 and H4 closes below 1889 or 90 level on this zone. If the price closes sharply below this zone, then only there is a chance that from here it can touch up to 1850 level, nearly I would like to say 400 pips from 1890 to 1850. Yeah, kind of like 400 pips movement is expected on the bearish side if any closing happens below 1890. But any closing happens above 1925 or 30, levels, then it can shoot up to 1990 level, which is actually 500 or 600 points above. So that's how actually our position still stands. So please be patient. I actually uh, been trying to explain you, because my job is not to just deliver you things on newses, because these newses you can actually go in many websites, you're gonna have that view. But my job, I feel, is to connect the dots and make it appear like a sentence, that how it's gonna be like this way, how we are gonna use this information for the greater good, and also how to make money from out of it. That's the main our target. Okay. So any tactical question is highly appreciated, but if you want to feel aggressive, you can send us aggressive emails, but not in the live sessions. Okay. So anyway, let's move on. So for the next week, we are seeing a bank holiday for pound on the very first day on Monday. Now, when anything such happens like bank holiday, I guess in such scenario for the US dollar, it becomes very stronger for US dollar. Now on pound, when it happens, when any bank holiday or any holiday happens, then it becomes weak. So that's how we are gonna think if GBP is gonna get weak, and this news on CB leading index for China, if this news becomes negative, then only we can say that yes, for any scenario, this day on Monday, US dollar will be a little bit bullish. US dollar will be a little bit stronger. So GBP USD can get a little bit bearish on this particular day. Now, that thing actually been it can be have an idea through here. So this is the chart, and so far I remember last week we had informed that anything closing below this level is important to indicate a clear bearish trend, right? So we had also indicated some target levels on the bearish side. Now what happens is that in this level is been retested and then again been breached over right here past week, and now this level has been retested on the bearish side too. Now it's been closes on a bearish side. So for the next week on the Monday, we feel the bearish side continues for GBP USD, and it can touch initially up to our first targeted level for the previous week 1.25055, or for more furthermore on 1.2339 level, which is 173 pips below from this level. So this is how actually we are predicting GBP USD for the very first day of the week scenario, if that happens only. Now, we are seeing on Tuesday, we have RBA Gov designate Mr. Bullock speeches. We have also news on S&P CS Composite 20 HPI year-to-year news. Now, there was a time this news won't matter much, but in this right now, in this kind of scenario, this news is kind of important. This news is actually measures the change in the selling price of a single family homes in 20 metropolitan areas. So it actually expresses a price value of 20 metropolitan area, which has single family homes, and their selling prices, analyze their selling prices, and how much is actually changes than the previous. Is it lessening or is it increasing? Is the demands been increasing or supply been increasing? So there's from this report, the traders and the investors can have an idea. Now, what we see here in the previously, the value was minus 1.7%. The prediction is minus 1.5%, which actually they're thinking that the price may rise a little bit because that's how it is. Now, if it increases more than that, then US dollar will become a little bit stronger. If less than the previous value, then obviously it will be weaker. Now on 8 p.m. to USD GMT plus 6 time, we have US dollar CB consumer confidence index news, and also JOLTS job opening news. Now we have important news for Australian USD, Australian dollar CPI. We have important news on German prelim CPI for the whole day. We have newses on Spanish flash CPI. We have newses on ADP non-farm employment change on that particular day, Wednesday. We have prelim GDP quarter-to-quarter report for US dollar on that particular day on Wednesday too. So in Wednesday, we are seeing some couple of news coming because the next day is the last day of the month August. And on August, we are seeing that there is only important news. It's one of the most important news for the week, which is going to release on Thursday, and it's on China news, and the news is on manufacturing PMI. Now, if this news report, China can get positive value than the previous one. Previous value is this. So, and that scenario, we can say that yes, China is stronger and US dollar will be weaker. But if the alter scenario happens as expected on the forecast, if the price becomes less than the previous value of it, then we can say US dollar can be stronger in this day. And also to support that, we see on US session, we have core PCE price index news, and also likewise every week Thursday, we have US dollar unemployment claims news. Now on Friday is one of the most important day of the upcoming week, because on Friday it's the first day of the new month, September, and also it's also a news day release for non-farm payroll for US dollar. That means in this very first day of the month, first Friday of the month, we know NFP news releases, and it actually become a very significant news to calculate on inflation related numbers or interest rates related decisions. So we have seen it previously. Now on Friday we have CPI news on Swiss franc, in which we are seeing that the forecast, according to the forecast, that the numbers can be increased for CHF. Now, on that particular day, we have CAD, Canadian US dollars GDP report month to month release, in which we are seeing a negative news is going to come. And for US dollar, we are expecting a positive outcome on this particular day. But to confirm that, we have to confirm very weak, Chinese reports previously on these weeks. We are gonna have some negative reports on Australia, New Zealand too, to support the U.S. strength full positions. So this is the, I guess, the indication that we are gonna see which news is gonna release next week. Now we are gonna overlook some of the news articles and blogs so that we can have an idea how experts are seeing the next week. Now, this is an article, GMF. They are, expressing their ideas on BRICS summit that actually been resulted in an expansion, an addition of 6 new members, which is Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and United Arab Emirates. So 2 from the Middle East, three from the Middle East, including Iran, 2 from the Africa, Egypt, and Ethiopia, and 1 from Latin America. Argentina is going to join BRICS on the upcoming January 2024. But thing is, China and Russia may see BRICS as a vehicle for pressing an alternative global vision to the transatlantic order, but India and Brazil are more interested in an updated version of non-alignment. Point of difference is been made in between the BRICS. 2 of the poles is been thinking differently how these global association can actually bring stability, which they think is right now unstable by any means. With the notable exception of Iran, most of the prospective new members will have no interest in weakening their economic and security ties to key Western partners. So no one wants to put some, burden or, weakening, ties with Western partners. But for any new engagement of business, they're preferring for a new stable kind of group alliance. That's what actually been the verdict of gmfus.org. And in the context of the anti-hegemonic struggle that Xi Jinping now speaks about openly, BRICS plays an increasingly important role. For Beijing, this shift is not just about legitimacy and leadership in the developing world. It also is a part of mobilizing a coalition that actually been rejects, things like Western and the US leaderships do. They do sanctions, they do many political related, engagements, and many kind of things that we have seen previously. So they are against that. And for that reason, they actually want to create something new. But the reality is, creating something at that kind of global scale is not a matter of a day. And obviously, it's a matter of a process. And because it needs a little bit trust to make something alternative to US dollar. It's not just because of the US dollar bombs Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It's not just about it's the most warmonger nation, have some most military and advanced budgets. That's not the only key thing that people trust US dollar. Rather, I believe that people trust US dollar because whatever the situation happens, as the best currency, it actually appeared a little bit strong and available and acceptable in anywhere in the world because it has engagements in socio-economic and also directly on business and economics on many parts of the globe for the many years. So as all these things remain smooth, the thing is that they are just to make something look like that, act like that is not actually is very much easy. It's a little bit tough because the trust that been made to establish many years to adjust all the countries to select as it as a reserve currency. Now to make a new alliance or new type of currency system or system through which people can do transaction on their business and different dealings, it needs also time to build that trust. Now, it's not a matter of just one day you launch a currency and everyone accepts. It's not that easy. So this kind of thing also affects in many criterias. So let's see what happens. Now, every week we actually been express our concerns from all the mark to market views. Now, week ahead, they're seeing slowing US jobs and softening inflation. Now, the recent week, the Jackson Hole Symposium marks the end of summer, just as the autumn equinox next month. It has been a tough few months for bond markets as yields have soared. For the US economy, which has proven more resilient than many, including Fed officials, thought, and a sharp increase in anticipated supply of treasuries, the rise in yields may be understandable. Now, I'm going to put this news article because it's a little bit long, but I believe that this news article uh, can have a clear idea on how actually we are going to see the market. Now we have been, one of our dedicated followers been questioned. BOG President hints dovish policy USD JPY. Yes, it's true that yes, BOG Bank of Japan President hints some dovish policies, but how it affects USD JPY, it actually also depends how US dollar has been seeing that news on, right? So we are going to talk about USD JPY in some coming moments, no worries. So before that, let's analyze some of the news articles likewise. So let's just get back to some of the focused writings from the blogs. The dollar index peaked last September near 114.75. The low was recorded in mid-July around 99.55. Recently, it settled slightly above the upper Bollinger Band, 104.25. Now, we all know as a technical tool as Bollinger Band, we see that it's been rising on the top of the Bollinger Band, right? So here, if this pressure been continues, then the bullish thing will be continued, right? And if not, then it can be reduced. Now, this thing can be, at least we can see that from this article that they are seeing stable strength or growth on US dollar index. So yes, US dollar, according to their statement, if things happens like that, US dollar gonna go stronger in the coming days. For Eurozone, the short squeeze high during Fed Chair's Powell's speech needs to be overcome to stem the tide. So they have been uh, eyeing on the Powell speech. Now for the Japan, as we had came to a question a while ago, let's get back to it. Now, Japan has a full set of data in coming days, including employment, retail sales, and many. We know that the consumption and business spending slowed in quarter two, and external sector what was prevented contraction. While overall economic growth is expected to slow sharply this quarter, 0.8 to 1% annually after 6% in quarter two. July retail sales may be the most important data point after a 0.6% decline in June. Now, the 10-year Japanese government bond yield has pushed to higher. Yen is recorded a new low. So the scenario is that the bond price is going to low. The spending is going to low. The inflation is going to go high. Military spending is going to go high. So this is the scenario for the JPY. So yes, we can say, according to the fundamental factors, weak Japanese yen is surely expected. But how we can grab the move, that what actually time is gonna tell. Now, knowing that we don't put buy on USD JPY. Why? Because there could be some liquidity levels that can be retested, right? So when it retests, then we will enter, otherwise not. So which levels we're talking about, we'll get to know in a very short time. Now, the market is on edge knowing that BOG could offer to buy a 10-year bond as it did earlier this month. It bought 700 billion Japanese yen bonds in two operations. intervene the foreign exchange market like it did last year price range. There may be some chart resistance around 147.5, and secondary highs last November has been set at 148.45 to 85 area. So for USD JPY, there have been showing some signs on 148 levels. So which is this? So they have been telling that there has been some resistance happen on 148 to this level. So they're telling that this level can easily be breached in any ways if any Japanese yen weak scenario continues. And we can see that for USD JPY, we had seen last day on Friday, it has some sharp bullish move, right? So in these factors, we can say that there are some bullish liquidity involved. If we can say it's been retested for the next week, like this, it's been retested, then it can have a chance to appear a bullish move up to 148 levels, otherwise not. But a weak JPY fundamentally is clearly visible. If not for GBP JPY, I guess any weak GBP scenario or pound scenario happens, then only this can go sideways or bearish. Otherwise, any GBP bullish scenario occurs. So JPY, see that there has been a weak JPY if happens, then only it has chance to go more bearish, more bullish in the upcoming days. And it can breach up to 188 levels or 189 levels for more. Psychologically levels that can have touch in the coming days is 190 levels too. If JPY yen weakness continues. If not, if we can see that there are some elements that can boost Japan's economy, then Japan, I guess, can be more stronger than we can ever expect. So we have to keep an eye. We can set our trades on the bullish side for USD JPY or GBP JPY too, but we have to be very much cautious about any kind of harsh movement towards bearish sides too. Now, let's have a look to another article. So the Fed remains prepared to raise rates further if needed, Powell says. Now, central bank remains committed to reaching its 2% inflation target. Now, every central bank does that. What's new? Thing is, it's nothing new. Federal Reserve knows that 2% inflation target is their target, but they also has preparations to raise their rates further. So they are thinking about very positively to increase their rates, in the upcoming months. That's what actually the article says. I'm also going to put this article on the, chat so that you can also have follow up through this link. Yes. So let's move on next article. BRICS member face obstacles on road to de-dollarization. Now, BRICS member, this is the thing that actually we have informed you also in the previous live sessions, but as it appears in the one of the article after the BRICS summit been happens, so we need to follow up once again. Anything like US dollar and its business policy and its acceptance, anyone wants to make that, it's going to happen overnight. Or even every country agrees that's not going to happen overnight. It takes time because, anything new needs to be tested in many criterias. Then we can say that, yes, if this criteria has been fulfilled, and if amidst of this kind of adverse scenario, this currency or this instrument has been proven strong or has been proven not that much effectful, then only it has some good thought or good confidence on making it as a reserve currency. Now, US dollar is been certified as a reserve currency for the world right now in many, I guess I would like to say most of the countries. Now, to make something like US dollar that's why tough. Competing US dollar in business maybe isn't, because we have seen China has exceeded its reserves and business more than American businesses in the coming years, right? But on the trust that's been built upon a currency or on the mode of transaction. To establish trust on that kind of mode of transaction, it's been tough, and it's also requires a lot of time. Also, transparency is an issue, because we all know that in America, everything you do or related to earning or even spending is being recorded on a central data feed. In previous time, we had seen it that it's been recorded manually through many government agents and offices, and many bilateral Senate or like different government like organizations. They actually works on data and providing so that it gets easier to implement any decision. Now here in this present world, we are seeing that they are gonna make those data available on the digital scale more fast and more profoundly. So this kind of trust been established by US government for many years, right? Now to replace that trust with something more trustful, that's the most hardest part, and that's is the article being expressed over here by Robert Poinish. And it's been still that the common currency suggestions give way to second best bilateral clearing. It There are some inherent problems in bilateral trade settlement. As long as the trade is balanced between countries, in any model, no problem. When imbalances occurs, two kind of problem rises. First, the conversion to a commonly accepted currency, and second, surplus funds from bilateral trades have to be held, invested in local currency. So this kind of solution is also need to be implemented on the new BRICS economic coalition related issues. So this takes a lot of time. So it doesn't mean that BRICS meeting happen, it's going to affect US dollar so soon. But yes, technically it's bad news for US dollar, because many of the countries are starting to oppose their decisions as a reserve currency. They are demanding to create something new currency or new mode of payments as a reserve currency. So that's kind of bad news for US dollar. Now, US have many ways to tackle these things. I guess we are going to see some of the Fed's policy changes in the coming weeks, and there have been work going on digital dollars. So I guess some good news for dollar is also coming on the way. Let's see how the world accepts and how US dollar strength prevails. Now, mortgage data from Canada's two biggest banks are painting a picture of homeowners straining under high borrowing costs. This data tells us the housing market of Canada is weak, and the reports are weak. So does the Royal Bank of Canada, the largest lender, discloses 43% of its Canadian resident mortgages has an amortization period of longer than 25 years as of July. So you take the loan, but you didn't pay back. So that's how the scenario happens over there too. Now, for that, Canadian banks have allowed customers to stretch payments for longer periods to help them bring down their monthly payments after rapid rise in rates. So unlike that in US, it's difficult for homeowners to lock their rates for long periods. So this is the kind of like mortgage growth cools at Canada's top banks. In RBC, in the TD Securities, we are seeing that the interest rate hikes are weighing on domestic mortgage books. So the price is gonna, decreasing. The mortgage growth is decreasing. So that's kind of like alarming for a housing market of Canada. So here we are seeing another article where it's been expressed that US dollar high and a bullish sentiment for foreign currencies. So that's how they're eyeing on USDX, on 80-minute chart. Let's see how it goes. ECB's Lagarde, they've been informed that pretty confident that by end of 23, inflation numbers will look different. Also, she informed that regarding inflation target, changing the rules would be deceptive and counter to anchoring expectation. Also, he informed disinflation has to be timely and sustainably. So there's a interesting article I've been saving to tell you. The US dollar is like the English language. that says "Pardon my French" in English. So it's kind of like joke, an European joke, how US dollar has been behaving. Uh, so I guess I would not say much, more detailed article, but this article has been telling a wider aspect on how BRICS is going to change the schematics of international mode of payments, and how US dollar needs to behave in this scenario. So this has been a chart that been says the price of gold and Chinese yuan versus US dollar exchange rates. So this is how it's shifted. Yeah, so this is the value of Chinese yuan, and this is the value of gold. One value, becomes less, gold's value become riser against Chinese yuan. So BOG's Ueda has been saying that underlying inflation still in a bit below our 2% target. Also, he's been informed that low inflation is why we're sticking to current framework. So as we have mentioned, and some of our very dedicated listener been informed over here, that BOG President Haynes dovish policy, yes, is true. From the news articles, yes, we are saying that, yes, the sentiment is kind of like dovish, which actually pushes back lower JPY in the coming weeks too. Now, we're going to say some important facts about ECB in this article. ECB's Kazakh said that I'm in no rush to say that we are done on rates. So more rate-related decisions coming in the upcoming weeks for euro. That's what actually we can expect. Also, ECB Lagarde, they informed, need to set rates at sufficiently restrictive level for as long as possible. We are seeing profound changes in labor market and the nature of work because it's changing. The engagement on markets, on people to people, on sentiments, on due to many cultures is also been changing. Many multilateral engagement been happens right now due to climate change and energy transition, because before that Europeans would like to more buy on oil or this kind of related vehicle or equipments related to it, right? But right now they're eyeing on electrical vehicles like Tesla and many more, and this kind of equipments. So their living thing or psychology has been changing. Previously, we had seen those who bought car, they think that we would love to have a home. Now people are right nowadays, people are thinking about off-grid living. People are thinking about having a caravan and just set off like nowhere. Like there is no house rent, there is only electricity, and we are gonna go on the road trip for the lifelong. So this kind of like thing happening on the psychological changes on Europeans, because housing market has been acting very harsh on many kind of places in Europe. Uh, so But the ECB wants to see the final inflation report and other data coming to an agreement what to do in September. The market is priced 50-50, and there are some strong opinions on the Governor Council. In the aftermath of this speech, the odds of a September hike tricked up to 53% from 50%. So only 3% decision been, I would like to say, increased on hiking September rates. So that's what we can say. Fed's Harker says he doubt rate cuts are on the table until next year at some point. So they won't say that rate cuts are going to happen soon, because that will deteriorate market stability and scenario. So what they're saying is that until next year, he doubts rate cuts are on the table. So maybe they have some thoughts that rate cuts can happen on the next year, but now this decision is in doubt, so it may happen a little bit earlier. That's how actually they are thinking about on Fed's perspective. Repeats that he doesn't see need more hikes now. Hold rates steady and see how economy develops. If inflation rate stalls, it could call for more hikes. Thing is, you can actually hike, in many aspects, but there are some effects, bad effects on hikes too. Because if people see that yes, I can invest in banks and gets a good handsome of sum of money, then obviously I would not work. I would not create something new. I would not to engage my time to create something more productive to bring a good you know economical system for my country, right? So rate hiking is not always good, but present scenario, rate hiking was important and Federal Reserve did. Now they are, I guess, thinking on pushing a limit on increasing rate hikes, and they are indicating a little bit rate a little bit you know cuts on rates in the upcoming days. So okay, so I'm gonna put another link over here where the Jackson Hole full agenda on different parts of the America where they are present in the Jackson Hole Symposium. They have been shared their ideas over here. Now we are gonna have some of the glimpse over here. Now let's get back to what we are seeing. The market's gonna go behave for the next week. Now, for the previous week, we informed that yes, price may go a little bit bearish and touch these levels. Now, for now, I guess we can see if the price closes below this level, which is 34,000, it has the chance to touch this level, which is 33,000, which is 1,000 points below than we are expecting. But these liquidity level are important, and that can has the opportunity to breach if any H4 or H1 closing happens below 34,000. But if not, if the market behaves in such a way that we will see some closing above these level, which is 34,000 800 levels. If we see any kind of H1 or H4 closing above this level, then we can see another 500 points bullish movement expecting on US 30. Now let's go for gold. As we speak, on previous weeks, when the price was just here, we informed that yes, the price may retest a little bit over here, then come back down as expected in this level. Now the price already been in this level retested. Now the scenario has been divided into two ways. Like if it closes below 1890 level, which is like from here, it has the opportunity to go like 300 or 400 pips below up to 1950 level. Now, if by any means the price goes above, if it closes, any H1 or H4 candle closes above 1930 level, then it has a chance to go bullish up to 1980 levels, which is 500 pips above. So why we are expecting this kind of 500 or 1,000 pip movements on golds? Because the scenario is like that. These are the liquidity levels. These are the box that's been maintained on the past weeks. We have drawn these boxes in front of you guys, and these box been actually breached over here. Now it's been retested. There's a high chance it can act like it, a little bit high push and then go boom onto the bearish side. Now on the alternate side, if we see that on the Monday it's been acting a little bit stronger, then create some divergence related to this scenario, and then I guess from here it can go some bearish side move on Thursday or Wednesday if it wants to get its weekly closing on the bullish side. So that's how we are eyeing on the gold. Now for the USD CAD, sorry, for the GBP USD, we have informed previous week when we didn't know this side, we only know this side. We informed that any closing below this level tends or this level tends the price may go to this level, right? Which is 160 pips or something like that. Now it hit this liquidity zone. Let me zoom a little bit for further discussion. The price went here, retested, then again shuffled it back and created its strong side on the bearish side for GBP USD last week. It actually break our potential level. but it hadn't touched our target yet, which we think is going to happen on Monday. We are expecting 66 pip bearish movement up to 1.25050 levels. And if any H1 or H4 closings below 1.25 level, we can have a bearish movement up to 1.234 levels over here, which is 150 plus pips on the bearish side. Now, how any bullish movement can occur for GBP USD? So if any bullish closing happens above 1.275 levels, which is this, or 27, yeah, which is this level, 1.275, then we can have bullish move, 200 pips bullish move up to 1.298 or 297 levels. So we actually been showed you our bearish side which we are eyeing on, and also bullish side for GBP USD. So let's get back to it again. Bearish side closing below 1.25 will actually tends its target up to 1.23 4 levels. If the price closes H1 and H4 above 1.275 levels, then it has the opportunity to touch 1.2975 levels or 296 levels. For GBP JPY, we have informed that as JPY is weak, so we can say that if that weakness continues and prevails, then we have an opportunity for GBP JPY to touch at least 188 levels, which is this. Or furthermore, there is a psychological level of 190 over here. So there has been some liquidity, I guess, over here, which market would like to touch. But before that, if it goes a little bit bearish side, okay, so I'm gonna repeat it once again. So for GBP JPY, I guess we can expect some bearish movement over this period, and then it can go a little bit bullish side, bullish movements to touch this level. For USD JPY, we are seeing some potential liquidity on these 148 levels, and also more over 148.5 levels. So we have some liquidity over here. So market gonna touch this level very soon, as we can see. This is gonna expect it, but before that, there's a chance that it can go a little bit, sell stop hunt over these levels, 1.145.9 or 145.8 or 145.34 levels in this zone. So there's some sell stop or some spikes is going to expect it, but later on it has a chance to touch this level on the bullish side. For USD CAD, as we are seeing the weakness on the Canadian dollar is been on the way. So we can say that if this weakness continues, then it can go more bullish like it did last week. And we have seen that market actually rejected back from our designated target levels. So if there is any bullish H1 or H4 closing above these levels, which is 1.3699 or 37 levels, then we can say that the market has the opportunity to touch 1.375 or moreover 1.39 levels, which is this. So this is how we are eyeing on. If the price closes above these levels, then we can go here. But in any cases, if the price closes below, there's a bullish side we are talking about in the bearish side. Let's talk about the bearish side now. This is the bullish side. Now for the bearish side, if any H1 or H4 closes below 1.3485 levels, then for the target one, we can have a 200 pips bearish target on 1.328. And later on, if that strong Canadian dollar or weak US dollar thing continues, then it can touch up to 1.3085 levels. So this is how we can see on the bullish and the bearish side for the USD CAD too. So that's how we can tell our point of views related to the next week market scenarios on gold, US30, AUD USD, GBP JPY, GBP USD, and USD CAD. That's what actually we have discussed. Now, I would like to see if anyone has any questions. If you have any questions, then we can have express in the chat box here, and then we can have a discussion. Okay, so I guess we don't have much questions for now today. So we'd like to thank you for being with us, including these hours. Okay, AUD. We are having a request on analysis for Australian dollar. Let's have a look on AUD USD, how it's gonna be. We can have a look on AUD USD for the upcoming week. Now, for AUD USD, we are seeing that it's been acting a little bit bearish side for past couple of weeks, right? For 4 or 5 or more. Now, if that continues, in which end it's gonna go? Let's find it out first. Like in which liquidity zone it's gonna seek its liquidity, and through it, how we can predict that how this level is gonna go breach. Like for example, here we can see on the daily chart, there's a level over here, there's another level over here, and we're seeing the market already breached this level, right? Now, furthermore, if we proceed, we can see more bearish side levels over here, in here too, and here. So on H4, when we have a look at it, what we see, if we see that market has touched and retested 0.6375 levels on the past week 2 times, sorry, in the past weeks 1 time and 2 times, on the previous week, then the last week 2 times too, but didn't had any closing on H4 below these levels. Now, if it's in the upcoming week, if any H4 candle closes below 1.638 levels, then we can have a target up to 0.626 level, which is 118 pips below than the entry price. And furthermore, it has liquidity on the sell side up to 0.6 level, but it depends how it's going to react in the upcoming news. So to touch these 0.6 levels, market needs to react US dollar are more times stronger. And it only happens if we have very positive scenario on US dollar happens on Friday. So before Friday, I would like to say no trade needs to be done for AUD USD, because we have AUD USD reserve Bank of Australian governor speeches in the upcoming week too, right? So to stay back hold and to have some potential risk-free zone trade, I guess that's is more important. So is to stay out of trading AUD before the NFP. After the NFP, when you get confirmation that yes, US dollar is on the strong side, then yes, obviously you need to go on the sell side for AUD USD, but not before that. If any bearish situation on US dollar can have a good attention on AUD USD bullish side, I would suggest not to place that. So that's what we can say for AUD USD. For buy side, that's what actually been we expressed for the bearish side on AUD USD, and only if US dollar can get stronger. But let's discuss a little bit on the reverse side. And for that, it has many liquidity levels to touch, but we are gonna focus on some major liquidity levels. Like for example, so let's just say if the market uh, prices crosses above closes above 0.66 levels, then it has a chance. Well, actually, it's more than 200 pips above the previous week's closing. So any H1 or H4 closing happens above that, we can say that it will move another 200 pips above movement up to 0.68 levels. Now that's why it's conditional, and it's has some large gaps, right, to maintain. Now, when it does so, then it can go bullish side. Otherwise, not. Otherwise, we would confirm and search for AUD/USD bearish side entries, and only when US dollar becomes stronger, only then. Otherwise, not. So that's how we can say for AUD/USD. Now, if I guess we have covered up gold scenarios, we have covered up US 30, we have covered up USD CAD related discussions on both news related events and articles, and also on the technical side too. We have expressed our point of view on USD JPY and why it's gonna need to touch this liquidity level at 148. And we have also expressed our point of view on AUD USD right now a while ago. So that's how actually we are gonna stand our live sessions every week. We are gonna share our point of view, our observations on the market depending on different news and its related factors, so that you guys, when you start trades, or even you when you actually start copying our signals from our free or even paid accounts, you can have an idea that is this signal is gonna go for or against the fundamental scenario or not. And when we do that, when we post any kind of signals or any kind of analysis on our channels, Telegram channels, and also on Facebook, we we would like to make you sure of that if it's related to our indications, our fundamental indications. Because what we try is that we need to be with the side of the market maker choice and decisions, right? Because they are the ones who actually move the market. Our money, our decisions doesn't move the market. Only the market maker decisions moves the market. So we need to know what market makers think, or we what can do is that somehow predict, right? We actually cannot know by sitting here showing some data or seeing some news events and blogs. We actually cannot know how what market maker thinks, but we can have a prediction, have an idea in which way the market maker could have reacted, and in which liquidity levels that needs to touch to make that thing happen. So that's what is our target, is to reach you these events and its related explanation and discussions, and to let you know why we are eyeing on bullish side or bearish side in individual pairs, why and where is our fundamental backup or fundamental decision resides. That's what actually we are sharing to you through these weekly live sessions. So if you have any questions or concerns, please let us know beforehand, so that we can be came prepared and make you more engaging and more insightful. Like for example, it's very appreciated, Mr. Uh, the channel name is in Bengali, and its name is Banglar Hal Chitro. So he's not like Mr. Ashraful Islam. He makes sure that what he needs to hear from us, he needs to hear about us on BOJ a while ago, and right now he's been asking on AUD. So that's what actually we want more from you guys, to ask us in a very technically, so that we can understand how we can do better analysis and provide you better insights from the market news and vlogs and values, and on the technical indicator sides. So anyway, moving on. So as we can see that no new question arrives over here, we are now ending our live session right now. So those who are new, I would like to request you to join every Sunday, this time at the same time, every week, to join our discussion on market next week, market related aspects and news, so that we can have a clear idea what's going to happen, how it's going to behave, and if it behaves that way, how we are gonna adopt with the market moves and can make some profit. So we are gonna provide you that insights from our free signal groups and many other features that we are gonna introducing. Like this is our free Forex signal group. We have a good couple of subscribers. So I guess from here you can have a good idea on how we are working together to bring you a good amount of information related to market and making profits. So I guess it will be continued with your goodwill. And thank you for joining us. And I wish you all to join our next session on the next Sunday, if possible. So till then, have a nice week ahead and have a nice profitable week ahead. So till then,